What we do here is go back.
Welcome back to Rap Rewind. I'm your host, Jordan.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Tanya.
Today, we're going to look at the evolution of rap music in Atlanta and try to understand how it evolved the way it did. And to help us, we have two musical experts with us.
Hey guys.
Hello. Hip-hop is one of the most popular music genres today. It's more than just music. It's an evolving culture that has influenced America through powerful messages and its hard-hitting hits.
Today, we're going to focus in on Atlanta's rap scene over 4 decades and try to understand how we got to where we are today.
We're going to start by looking at the 80s, a decade full of changing culture. In Atlanta, the hip-hop genre was characterized by different styles influenced by Miami's electro-driven music. This was right before Atlanta blew up as a hip-hop center.
What helped Atlanta gain a name in the world of hip-hop was its producers, who worked with already known and revolutionary artists outside of the South.
Right, these producers brought the new age rap and hip-hop to Atlanta so that the city could grow its own hip-hop culture. Let's ask Jayla, an expert in hip-hop culture, more about how the producers of Atlanta hip-hop affected its history.
Hi everyone, you guys are exactly right about how important the producers in Atlanta were at the time. The genre would not be the same today if producers hadn't stepped in the 1980s. The most influential producer of this era was Jermaine Dupri, who was still a well-known record producer and an executive of So So Def Recordings. Fun fact, Dupri actually started out dancing for the Brooklyn-based trio Houdini, which influenced his own style and effect on Atlanta.
Wow, so you're saying that, in a way, Jermaine Dupri was raised to success by Houdini.
In a sense, yes. Houdini's hits Friends and 5 Minutes of Funk used that urban style that comes from the electro you mentioned earlier you see in early Atlanta hip-hop. Touring around the country to all these different nodes of hip-hop allowed him to get a taste of the flavor of different forms of hip-hop. Using his experience from interacting with these different cultures, he began writing and eventually produced Jump for Criss Cross in 1992, and from there he shot off, with the song topping the Billboard Hot 100.
So, Jermaine Dupri, along with other Atlanta producers, paved the way for Atlanta hip-hop artists to come out and make music.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about how a few people invested themselves into such an underground culture and ended up creating one of the most influential music genres today.
You brought up Criss Cross, an Atlanta artist from the 90s. So let's look at that decade of hip-hop in Atlanta next.
I don't think it's possible to talk about this decade's style and its influence without recognizing the role censorship began to play around this time.
Oh, for sure. You see the parental advisory, explicit content sticker popping up on every album and song. I mean, some stores stopped carrying music with that sticker, so a lot of artists got blocked that way. No shelf space meant no money.
You want to talk about no self-space? Talk about no airtime. Some of these guys couldn't even get their message out. The radio stopped playing music that they thought was threatening.
I know that some stations wouldn't even play normal rap unless it was at night. But let's look at NWA Straight Outta Compton. While they're not from Atlanta, they're the epitome of what the radios didn't want at this time.
Those cymbals and sirens are actually what those situations didn't like. Atlanta artists pick up on this fast, and they started producing songs with similar messages, but a bit softer tone. A personal favorite is Outkast's Wheels of Steel.
Cut up all the board. 2 things I hate, lies and thieves, they make my blood boil. Boa constricted on my soul that they call.
Now that's more like it. Let's consult with Dr. Collins and look at the song a little bit more.
Hey guys, on top of radio friendliness, this song incorporated a lot of DJ scratching and moderate beat style. It was more akin to the rising rave and dance scenes and a lot less like a war song. The heavy 808s and drums are missing, and instead you have a softer kind of song.
True. Outkast is one of those artists that immediately gets linked to the evolution and rise of Atlanta rap. What are some of the reasons this is the case?
It's a great question. Outkast with the perfect balance of poetry and rap, Andre 3000 took on the role of the poet, while Big Boy was the typical rap character you'd expect. While they're one of the idols of this decade, you'd also see the rise of Usher, Criss Cross, and many other radio favorites.
I see. So why did Atlanta dominate this period then?
Because Atlanta artists were quick to adapt. They saw the limitations of the industry and changed their style to fit it. This decade was defined by a mix of psychedelia, gospel, rock, funk, and soul music. In the 90s, the music industry was starting to constrict rap in so many ways, and Atlanta rappers fought back and won by adopting radio-friendly beats and lyrics. That's how they dominated this decade.
Thanks so much for your insight. From the popularity hip-hop and rap gained in the 90s, new styles of hip-hop began to form a mainstream platform, namely in our next era. Crunk was one of the biggest forms of hip-hop because of its sudden success during the early and mid-2000s.
Known as a king of crunk, Lil Jon had a massive breakthrough with the crunk genre as his production of Get Low reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100.
What's wild about Lil Jon shooting up the Billboard Hot 100 is what the actual song is about. Dr. Collins, would you mind giving us a breakdown of Get Low? Here's a clip first.
Basically, everything about this song is provocative, and that's exactly the reason it rose to fame so quickly. Such a vulgar dance song was perfect for the clubbing culture of the era, and the lyrics cover several sexual activities, and the East Side Boys mention ATL stripper and tell the audience not to disrespect the strippers of Atlanta, which accentuates their sex agenda.
The rest of the lyrics are just describing how much they like girls dancing for them and in what way, so it really fit into the new and upcoming culture. Not too much has hidden meaning in the lyrics. The artists are just here representing the culture in which they were raised and live, which is still important because the world hadn't been exposed so suddenly to something so raw.
Wow, it's crazy that a song so graphic gained so much popularity in so little time. But it makes sense now that I understand how groundbreaking the role of crunk was in Atlanta and overall hip-hop.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so next I want to look at an equally provocative artist, T.I. Let's first take a listen to his song, Trap Music. Although he wasn't rapping about women and sex, he handled another heavy and shocking topic, drugs. His album Trap Music changed the entire perspective of Atlanta rap culture.
In that album, T.I. brought light to a major aspect of Atlanta culture, the trap. The trap involves a web of drug dealing, making Atlanta neighborhoods inherently dangerous. Here's Jayla with some more background on that.
I mean, you said it. We've heard hip-hop and rap artists express many issues before, such as inequality and oppression, but we haven't had a look into the impoverished neighborhoods of Atlanta. T.I. lets us see the dark and very real world of trap and exposes how serious it is. Most of the time, kids in these neighborhoods just don't have a choice of a life without drugs and drug dealing.
Speaking of kids raised in the trap, Gucci Mane is another popular artist who came from the trap. His album, The State vs. Radric Davis, was actually released while he was in jail as he was frequently in and out of prison early in his career.
His song, Worst Enemy from that album, shows how he is reflecting on his situation he has put himself in. Here's an example of that song now. Dr. Collins, can you tell us more about this song?
Yeah, so in this song, Gucci Mane is describing his past decisions that's brought him to where he is in his life at this point. He says that he's had his fair share of misery, which refers to the violent and dangerous neighborhoods in which he was raised, because it was his own violent drifters' behavior that had him put in prison. Many of the lyrics seem to be a confession as he acknowledges his misdeeds and apologizes for acting out with such irresponsibility.
Jeez, that's heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, when you look at it, quite a few Atlanta rappers were raised in a really tough situation. It's amazing how they come up and are able to share their stories through the music of this time. The stories these Atlanta rappers have to tell doesn't end there. Let's get into the music of today. Here's a short clip of This Is America by Childish Gambino.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now.
Very powerful video. For those of you who haven't seen the video, I highly recommend watching it. No matter what standpoint you are on the racial or political issue, the video is well made with all the symbols, visuals, and settings.
I could not agree more. Before we go into the style of the music, one question I always have every time I see this video is why Gambino's dancing so weird.
Great question. So Gambino is wearing Confederate hats, from Jim Crow dancer, which white people used to stereotype and mock black people. Gambino is indirectly highlighting and criticizing America's past. This juxtaposes the scene with the church choir getting shot up, which references the Charleston church shooting. Commentary on America today.
So would you say that hip-hop music today continues to send messages to people of America on the issue of racial equality just like previous decades?
Oh yeah, for sure. Now more than ever with services like Spotify and SoundCloud, rappers can get their messages out much easier. The song itself does a lot to try and normalize blackness in America, something that can be found in a lot of other Atlanta rap.
Yeah, building off of that, the style of the song is a typical Atlanta trap beat, which has its roots in the 90s. You hear kick drums, halftime rhythm, and an overall mellow feeling. It wants to convey a deep message to its audience, just like the songs from the 2000s and 90s.
Definitely. You bring up trap beats, which means we gotta mention plausibly the biggest modern Atlanta rap group, Migos.
Young rich niggas. You know, so we ain't really never had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though.
For those of you that don't know, Migos is a rap group out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. They're best known for their trap beats and triplet flow, which has been dubbed the Migos flow, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Oh man, I love the rhythm and instrumental these guys use. Simple, yet powerful.
For sure, I would say that Migos defines trap music in Atlanta today. Being born out of poverty and drugs, trap gets its name due to it being a low-budget, drug-influenced music category. For example, their first version of their hit song Versace was recorded in a closet at their house.
Yeah, getting back into Bad and Bougie. In the intro, he says, "So we never had old money. We got a whole lot of new money though." Essentially acknowledging the rough past of African Americans, while also recognizing first-generation wealthy African Americans. Almost a symbol of hope and inspiration to his audience.
So do you think modern Atlanta's hip-hop style has shaped or evolved with current African American society?
Oh yeah, it's definitely evolved and even draws from current events in African American society. The main difference is the trap style that praises drugs, sex, and well, trapping, something that 2000s rap could never do.
Now, you mentioned triplets earlier, Jordan, and I want to get an explanation of this from Dr. Collins.
Alright, so most Western music is written in 4 beats to a bar. Triplets has 3 beats to a bar in the time you would normally hear 4. This style is used today by many other rappers in other regions. It's even been found in music from the 80s, but it's trap that has allowed it to dominate the industry. Remember when we mentioned Versace earlier? All triplets, take a listen.
Versace, 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 Versace. You can do Chewy, I do Versace. I do got the Honda, I got the Mazda. I do smoke the mid,
It's cool to see a resurgence of old styles in new music.
Looking at how rap in Atlanta evolved every decade is pretty cool.
Yeah, it gives you a nice perspective on how music is sort of cumulative, how every artist pulls a little bit from the past to invent a new style.
Totally. I love being able to identify the styles of the past in current music and being able to trace its roots to older decades.
Not only that, but I think Atlanta is also unique due to its location and importance in the South. Because of the railways and the airport, you have a lot of different cultures and influencers flocking to the city like we saw with Dupree. This allowed musical styles that were only seen on the West Coast or in the North to infiltrate the Southern hip-hop scene, which led to the complex music scene we have today.
Thanks so much everyone for tuning in. We want to thank our experts for coming in and visit us. Really appreciate it, guys. Be sure to listen again next week where we're going to break down the really deep lyricism of Lil Pump.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Spread thin racks on new chain. My bitch love do cocaine. Ooh, I fuck a bitch, I forgot name. I can't bob in the wetter rain. Rather go and bob.